Welcome, welcome, welcome to Liverpool 12th Man Show. I'm the Liverpool 12th Man, and I'm joined by the Irishman. Excuse me, the Irishman. How are you doing?
Just like everyone else, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly.
Down to the dumps.
Down in the dumps.
Sick of it all.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
ready to go again. Ready to go again.
Exactly. If you know any measure of a true red, it's, get knocked down, get right back up. So, hey, keep fighting. You always keep fighting, keep believing. And it is what it is. But I mean, as Ozan Kabak, yes, he plays center back. It is a therapy session today. It's something of just being able to kind of get some of the things off your chest, maybe hear some encouraging words. There's a lot actually that's been said, whether it's, whether it's from our captain, whether it's from our vice captain, whether it's from our coach, whether it's from pundits, whether it's been from, journalists, whether it's been from the forums that we've all been, I guess, somewhat avoiding it, probably so, more so than not, because it's always not the best place to be when we lose. It ends up being a shooting gallery, basically, or a duck hunt in essence. So that is what it is. But anyway, big up to everyone that's joining us today. Ozan, like I said earlier, Psychedelic Shaolin, Andy. Good to see you, Andy. Always a pleasure to see you, Andy. MK Toe as well. And hi, Lord. Good to see you as well, brother. Definitely good to see all of you guys. Yeah, basically, how are you guys feeling today? It's called I'm calling it the Friday Fallout for a reason, because we did just fall out of Europa. We've fallen out of the search of a treble. We've now been somewhat subjugated to basically relying on our resolve, I guess could say, to win all the rest of our games and hope for a result from City. It's not the easiest thing to say, but let's say. Trap Joe, come on, brother. I know you're from the Bay Area. You know how that goes. You've had greatness. You've seen greatness up in the Bay Area. I'm not going to go as far as to say we're a bunch of losers for sure. I think if anything, you know what, we pick ourselves up. The measure of what our worth is, or the measure of what we can hang our hat on, at least for this year, is going to be measured by how these guys perform in the next 6 games, right? So, yeah. Big up to Alexander too, by the way. Big up to Alexander. Good to see you. And Trap Joe, I guess. I definitely want to make sure I said hello as well, properly said hello at least. We got JK in the house too. I'm gonna bring JK in.
Easy now.
Okay.
Hey,
Easy, bros.
How are you doing?
All good, bro. All good. I hope you guys do, yeah?
Yeah.
That's good, bro.
Hey, we've seen bigger miracles happen, by the way, Ozan. We've seen bigger miracles happen. But you never know. You never know, man. I'm not even though my as I was telling Brian, even though I'm not exactly I'm a little bit under the weather, I guess you could say. But it wasn't from the game. But all the same, it's forums like this and it's opportunities like this to link up with you guys in the chat, especially link up with my brothers here on the panel. And it's opportunities like this that at least pick up my spirits a little bit. You know what I mean? Misery is easy to find. It's not hard to find misery, but it is sometimes difficult to find something that's going to uplift your spirits or uplift you to have some hope or belief. So again, I appreciate that everyone is here today with me. And again, if I do bring down the camera, it might be because I have to get some water, kind of splash my face a little bit. But all the same, it's all good. Let me get up some of these comments too, real quick, before we dive into some of our panels. Concepts of where we are today. Hyler says, Klopp in the press conference after the match against Atalanta, he looked old and empty. And that second half against Atalanta, I will never forget, and not for a good reason. Eesh, that's not exactly a good start to the comments. All right. We can only move forward and learn from mistakes. Hope Klopp and the boys can find something from the 6 games remaining. You know what? That goes to what I was going to show you guys too. And I'm going to get you guys concepts or at least ideas as to some of these opinions, I guess we'd say, here. So let me pull up. I'll give you 1 second here. Let me pull up some of this stuff here. And why I'm saying that is because I saw some takes, I saw some opinions on Twitter. I saw some opinions, obviously, like I said earlier, from Jurgen himself. It's a measure of who we are, like I said earlier, on what and how we bounce back from this. Okay, I'm going to bring up some comments here, and I'm going to allow for you guys to kind of gauge where you are and if you believe in this, or is this just too much to is the crate, or as they say, has the cart gone too far for you to hop on that bandwagon? 1 second, I'm going to bring this up when we're just want to hear. So this is a comment that was put out there. Make it bigger. This was a comment that was made by Jurgen. He says, defiant Jurgen Klopp insists Liverpool will bounce back from a week of bruising blows as the outgoing manager insists the Reds can still win the Premier League. He insists that we can still win the Premier League. There's another comment here. There was one more. I have one. Okay, make sure I have it up. Oh, I don't. I'll bring this one up right here. This is another comment that he made. He says, I'm 100% sure we can win all the football games we have from now on. Jurgen Klopp is confident that Liverpool will win all of their remaining games this season. How do you feel about those comments? And how do you guys feel about these comments in the chat? How are you guys feeling about those comments? Are you behind him? Are you behind? Do you feel I'm going? I know somewhat what Hyler might say, considering he saw the press conference and he didn't necessarily have a rising resurgence of hope from seeing Jurgen in that presser. But how are you feeling? We'll start with the Irishman and then we'll go to JK.
Well, you can say, look, if the results of these kind of words are the performances that you got last night, the performance that you got against Palace, these things were said a couple of weeks ago. These things were said when it actually mattered, when we still were still in a European competition. That bouncing back, whatever he said, points to prove. Virgil came out and said very definitively that this will be a different scenario in the next game, and the next game was worse. So you can say it all you want, you can mean it all you want. I'm sure. I mean, maybe that's a particularly unfortunate moment to freeze on Jurgen's face there. But if he was trying to tell me something positive there, I'd be saying, dude, you look like you're about to cry. You don't even believe what you're telling me. You do not look confident there. You do not look like a man that's got that fire there, which is completely understandable because this is we're at the end of a line here. You've got a few more stops left to go, and then that's it. So the idea that we can, flick a switch by talking a good game, and kind of undo what happened in the last few games, because we talked a hell of a good game before what's just happened. And what's just happened, basically, when I'm talking about that, I'm talking about the Palace game and the 2 Atalanta games. And you can throw in the Man United game if you want. A lot of people have, so the 2-2 there. 2 losses against Atalanta and a loss against, well, not 2 losses against Atalanta, but getting knocked out by Atalanta, losing to Palace. And our season pretty much being no longer in our hands. And like I say, if that's the kind of response that those players give you when you send them out to Atalanta and say, right, this is a defining moment here. We might not win this because it's great escape territory, but let's go out there and kind of let's light a fire under. Let's try and make something happen. And they went out like it was a Saturday afternoon kick around, and they were trying not to get injured, and it was nice and polite, and it was a lovely evening in Bergamo, and I'm sure everyone had something nice to eat afterwards and got on the plane because they just didn't look like they gave a shit. And if that's the response that you get, if you put a cattle prod to that team and that's the response that you got from them, well, look, it doesn't fill me with any confidence at all. He could come out banging the table and throwing drinks and all of that, and I might feel a little bit more inclined to say, well, hey, he's still got the stick to go. But there's, I just don't see it. It will be a remarkable mental turnaround because of the lack of leadership on that pitch, because some of the players that may be future leaders aren't here long enough to have assumed proper leadership roles on the pitch in terms of midfielders, and that's cost us. It's no one there that knows it's their job to grab these games by the scruff of the neck and try and make something happen. And this club is now bereft of any kind of, like Harvey Elliott, I think, got it wrong the way he judged it. I criticised his choice of words by saying every game was going to be a cup final, but he knew what it meant. At least he knew what it meant. I don't think a lot of these guys have it in their OS yet to realize, what it is when you're at Liverpool. Like, they're not fully calibrated yet. So I think we've missed out on all chances. But this is worrying. I don't like the attitude that was shown. I don't like, that was one of the least. We needed the most Liverpool performance of all time to go and to turn a 3-0 into a 4-3, and that was one of the least Liverpool performances I've seen in Europe.
Yeah. JK?
Yep. There's 2 ways to look at everything, bro. Positive or negative, That's why we watch football, to give us moments of positivity after maybe even losing 3-0 in one game and then the second leg coming back and winning it. That's why we support Liverpool, But seeing the outcry from fans and the disrespect towards Klopp today really made me realise the future of the Liverpool Football Club fan base, be realistic, don't get me wrong, but have a bit of positivity in yourself to actually, you've already lost before you even kick the ball on Sunday against Fulham, That's not my mentality, and that's not a lot of people I know in life, their mentality, hence why they don't get themselves in trouble. But these new Liverpool fans just crying like Edwards is Superman and he's going to just fix everything, I'm thinking, come on, instead of just moaning all the time, support the club, We've had injuries, and I don't want to make excuses up because people always come out with that, you're making excuses up. For me, there's 2 things that's gone wrong with us this season. One, Klopp's timing of deciding that he's going to leave and actually coming out with it. And on top of that, the injuries. You cannot lose so many players and think that you're going to win every game. We did it with like youth players, and we did it with Diaz and Gakpo playing up top for a lot of games. Okay, it's only been this past week where it's sort of crumbled. The 2 Atlanta games and the Palace game. Other than that, we've sort of got away with it, But mentality-wise, you never do anything in life already losing in your head. You go out there to win, and that's the way football is, I just feel that the whole soap opera has sort of caused a bit of stress in the past week. Virgil don't look like he's ever led a team before in his life. For me, he's probably player of the season for us. I said that the other day. But just the downfall is sort of concerning. But we support Liverpool because we know we can change. It can change in a second. For me, it starts Sunday. I just hope we got a clean sheet yesterday and a win. Okay, we lost the tie. I understand that, but we kept a clean sheet. And
Yeah.
that's for me. That was the most important thing yesterday. After going 1-0 up, I just didn't want us to concede a goal. I didn't want Alisson to concede a goal, and it didn't happen. Okay. I think if Atalanta wanted to put the foot down a bit, they could have, but they didn't.
Well, exactly. If they had needed to score, if it had been a 2-2 and they had needed to score, I don't know if we would have kept a clean sheet. Who knows, but
who knows?
I think the fact that they didn't need to score meant that they, who knows what would have happened. But I wouldn't,
because they had their opportunities. They definitely had. They had their. It's not like they didn't have opportunities.
To
score. Yeah.
But let me say, but what I'm saying is they had a 3-0 lead.
But they weren't pushing for it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. What I'm saying is if they weren't 3-0 up and they needed to score goals, then they may push. I wouldn't put two. All I'm saying is I wouldn't put a huge amount of weight on that clean sheet. They were 3-0 up. They didn't need. That's all I'm going to say.
I understand your angle. Yeah.
But JK, my thing is I think these guys. It's not about me being negative. I think these guys have thrown in the towel. I don't think the positive. Yeah, again, I can only imagine some of the shit that's going on on social media. But for me, I can be as positive as I want. But I'm looking at a bunch of lads who I don't know if I can trust them. No, it's not about trust, but I don't know if they're gonna, if they can do it, if they have it in them to do it. And you know what the thing is, JK? You know what it is now? And it's because everyone has to have their little war. And at the moment, it's are you Klopp or are you Edwards? That's the new fucking thing now.
Yeah.
It used to be, are you Darwin in or Darwin out? Are you FSG in, FSG out? Are you, Gakpo in, Gakpo out? Now it's, are you Klopp or Edwards? Because you can only be in one camp apparently now.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous, man. Absolutely. I've seen loads of that stuff popping up, and I don't read it, but it's like Edwards signings and then Klopp signings, and all this kind of crap. It's all coming out of the woodwork because you have to be someone v somebody.
Yeah,
it has to be a fight. All this has to be a fight.
Yeah. There's a question here. There's a couple questions in the chat. I'll bring up two of them here, and it'll also read off something to go off of what you just said about the fight of this club and the measure of whether this team has anything left in the tank, basically. This question from Hylor is, the only question left is, if Salah had scored on that major chance, would our players have responded with more energy? Are they empty because of a tough season, or is it lack of motivation?
All the above.
Yeah.
Probably all the above, yeah.
I would say that truthfully, look, if he had made that conversion on that chance, we would have, I believe we would have gone on to score a third goal and push it to extra time. I honestly do. That could have been a motivating factor. That could have been that whole belief thing and everything else. It's a different story when you're chasing the second goal the way we were chasing it, as opposed to having the second goal already in the bag and you're just trying to chase a goal. I think there's a big difference when you're trying to chase one or the other. So I that's just my opinion, at least. Go ahead, Brian. You wanted to say your opinion?
No, I would say if we'd scored 4, we would have won. So ifs, buts, like MK was saying there, ifs and buts. He didn't score it. He didn't.
Yeah, but I mean,
second time now. But if he did, who knows what? But he didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a weird.
That's just one of those one-on-one with the goalie though, and Mo Salah doesn't hit the net. That's not often the case,
Well, it is this year. If you listen to some people, you can't say. If you listen to some people, he's one of the worst strikers in the Premier League. But hey, look, of course it would have changed, but you just, I don't know. I can't go that hypothetical. It's,
Yeah, but I think the timing of the Salah chance, that was enough time for us to get another goal. I just feel them sort of situations. They for some reason they're not coming quite a lot recently. Them sort of opportunities, and when it does come, you got to put it away. And I think it hit Salah's shin, and I don't want to make excuses for him as well. The guy should have put it away. The goal was so big, and he actually hit it wide. I was like, I think if everyone had an opportunity to put their house on it there and then, when the goalie was running out like a madman, I thought he was in. I thought he was going to just lob him nice, you know, and Bournemouth went left, and I was thinking, Lord have mercy. So it's the players as well, bro. You know, sometimes I always say this, that Klopp, the manager, gets these guys to Champions League's final, you know. He picks the teams throughout the group phase, quarters, and the semi-finals and stuff, and it's on the 90 minutes on the day. It's the players' job to win that game, and I think somehow the players are sort of not really putting a shift in recently, you know. I feel that could
Are
be
they on the
time.
beach, JK? Are they on the beach?
Look, Virgil, like on the beach this week, big time. Like Endo, just coming back from injury. Thank God he didn't play yesterday, because he wasn't ready to come back into the team. But I think this mentality of not really going for it, you know what I mean? Like me and you talked the other day, Brian, about Gerrard. He was that good because he got everyone moving, you know. If any problems came on the game, boom, he was there to shout, whatever. We ain't got that no more. And I miss that in a player. Sometimes a player don't have to be that good, bro. Henderson went a top player, don't get me wrong. But his mouth got him to where he got him, you know. He had a big mouth. And it kicked ass sometimes, and you need that.
Yeah. We were missing it so much last night. It was just so obvious. It was just like for everybody walking around just quietly, you know, playing football. Nobody getting angry. Nobody losing their head, you know, in a good way. Like Gerrard would have done. Like anybody. It wouldn't have to be Gerrard, you know. For any of these, all these top teams, they all have someone that would have gone around and grabbed people and gone, this ain't good enough. You know, yeah, Roy Keane, all these. It usually it's a midfield guy. I mean, your central defenders can't be in midfield running the game for you. But, you know, Trent isn't going to try and take control of a game with technique or something. But it's just that guy, that enforcer, that guy that just goes, no, this isn't good enough. I'm going to raise the standards. And like you say, JK, very rarely is he the best footballer on the pitch.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, but it's that guy that just sets the tone for everyone. It's like, if we're going to go out tonight, we're going to go down fighting. We went out with a whimper last night. Yeah. And again, something that, just Trap Joe said something there. And I said this last week as well, and it needs to be said as well. Like, Atalanta were brilliant. You know, this isn't just like they did a proper job on us tactically. You know, so there's props to it. This isn't completely to do with the fact that like we lost because we're awful. Like they are actually a good team as well. So
they are a good team.
But it's it's ours. I'm not just because he's saying we should give them some credit. Like 100% they get credit. You know, they restricted us to one goal over to get, like someone is saying there, I think Realism saying we've only scored, well, Diaz got a header, but in the last 4 games it's our only goal from open play.
Well, yeah. Okay, so that's
this is poor.
This is here. Yeah.
Really poor.
This was a question from Ozine. He says, how do we score an open play goal against Fulham? Look, the Fulham coach knows that that Liverpool plays, especially with Klopp as their manager, plays on emotion. Maybe that's a good thing, maybe it's a bad thing, depending on how you look at it. I know that some have put question on tactics as opposed to emotions sometimes. But that's a very good question, though. How do we score? I think how we're going to score is hopefully we can get some more progress, in fitness-wise out of Trent. Hopefully we can continue to possibly utilize Maka in a 8 role as opposed to a 6 role. Okay.
Endo should be back, right? Endo should be back for the weekend, yeah?
Yes, I believe
so.
Yeah.
He's not got like a bad injury. It's just like cool. Yeah. No, that's 100% Endo knew it back straight away.
Right. So like you can utilize those players being able to have a little bit more freedom in themselves pursuing forward, and we could possibly get a goal from that. That's what I think is going to happen with the open play.
Start finishing our chances. It's not a chance creation issue; it's an execution issue. So if we just turned up and finish a few fucking chances, then we'll score. It's not about Liverpool. They never look like scoring, or they never create anything. That has never been our problem. Someone was saying the other night it hasn't happened. I know I think they were on Frank's show, and We hadn't scored in a row. They were saying like, oh, the way we're playing, someone's going to get a hammer. One of these days soon, someone's going to get a hammer. And that's how it used to be when you had a team that, like, you know, was always creating, but went on a bit of a silly run where they didn't get, and then all of a sudden it'd click and they just beat someone 5 or 6. I've been kind of waiting for that for a while, for just to click for us up front. But the amount of like chances we create, we shouldn't have a problem scoring against Fulham. You know, I really don't see it being a problem. It's whether we win it or not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not confident going to any game anymore, to be honest with you.
The way to beat
No,
Fulham,
okay, go ahead, JK.
Yeah, the way to beat Fulham is to get in their heads from, I hope since yesterday, Klopp sort of saying, look, Europa League is gone. The Premier League is the last thing we can win together as a team, you know. And I hope they've sort of rested. I'm not sure how much these guys train. I think they do 2 sessions a day. Overtraining sometimes, you know. I think sometimes players just need to have 3-4 days not doing jack.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what their training regimen is off the top. I'm not privy to that info, so I'm not going to speculate.
Well, I hope today and tomorrow they sort of rest up, and then Sunday put out the strongest team and the fittest team possible. You know, if Endo's not fit, don't play him. And I think yesterday the midfield let us down again. Like Jones, Szoboszlai, McAllister. For me, no one can complain about him. He's probably our best midfielder anyway at the moment. But for Sunday is to get that into their heads that this is it now. Like, let's go and win this game, you know. Fulham not great. They're not great, but
well, yeah. We'll see how it goes with Fulham. There was a comment that he wrote, or at least something that I'm going to comment on, and I'm going to get on to some of these. I have 6 points from the game, and I also have like some other quotes from our captain, our vice captain, and our manager. There was this comment here, which was Liverpool have become too easy to play against, admits Jurgen Klopp. That's a concern. That's a definite concern. I think that at least I'm if that's the case, then it is, I guess, somewhat promising to say that that's something that he has to, figure out. But that's not good. That's not good to be making that comment at this point of the campaign.
I've seen this movie before.
Yeah.
When managers start coming out with quotes like that, I've seen it before, and either normally it's not in a scenario where a coach is in control of what's happening. Normally, a lot of these quotes are coming out because things aren't going well, and a coach is trying to save his job. Trying to say like, look, trying to motivate his players or whatever it is he's trying to do. But normally that ends up, when you're in a situation like that, when coaches are coming out with quotes like that, it's much easier and cheaper to sack a coach and replace a coach than it is to get rid of all the underperforming players. But Klopp is leaving now. So that's normally what the kind of stuff you hear at the end of managerial reigns is we're too easy to play against, or this or that. It's like, with this many games left in the season, there's only so much time to work on things. Like JK is asking, they're in once a day, really, at this stage of the season. They're in once a day. They're not doing a lot of heavy work. It's mainly recovery work,
massages,
light training. There won't be any heavy tactical stuff. There won't be any heavy training, because you'll be doing just, match day, rest day, recovery, and then you're immediately almost into prep for the next game. So you'll be working on some shape for but it'll all be very light. It won't, the people that be coming back will be working separate programs, gradually being reintroduced to the first team via the under-21s or straight back, whatever way it needs to be. But it's all going to be really light, because all the tactics are done now. They all know what they're, there's no change in shit now. They all know what the story is. So they've just got to go. This is all now between the ears. From here on in, it's all between the ears. It's up to them. It's up. Klopp can only come out and say these things so many times. It's up to the boys that go out on the pitch at 3:00 and it kicks off. It's in their hands then. It's what way do they want to go out? What I would be saying to this is, if I was a manager, one of the few things I would have left in my back pocket is, okay, say it's a bad one on at Fulham, right? Say it's a draw or whatever. I wouldn't be, but I'd be coming out and saying, look, okay, cool, that's what you're going to do. Okay, cool. I'm going, right? You all get it. I'm not going to be here in 6 weeks. You're all going to be here, but I can guarantee you, these fans won't forget. If you phone it in for the next 5-6 games and end up just in third, these fans will not forget about it. That's what I'd be throwing at them. Mm-hmm. I'd be telling them, you got to go out, and if we don't win the league, we don't win the league. But if you want to go out and just walk at home like you're already on the beach, these fans won't forget that. That's the only thing I'd be saying to them, is just go out and show the fans that you fucking care.
Yeah.
You know, because it doesn't look like it at the moment. Yeah. That's what I'd be saying to them.
Yeah. That's the honest to God truth right there, is that, like, it's what I led off the show with. It's just a measure of, like, I get it. Like, Reverend Knight just said something about, like, you know, he doesn't want to necessarily hear the quotes. He doesn't want to hear the set, or he doesn't want to hear all this, like, rah stuff. Like, guys, just show us on the pitch, show us by, like, examples, not show us by your rhetoric. And I can understand that, because I was going to say these next couple of quotes. I have one of the quotes actually up on the board here or on the screen. It's by Trent Alexander-Arnold, that goes on to say, after the game, we spoke quite positively about the rest of the season. We've got a month left, and we need to give it everything. One last push, wrote Reds captain Virgil van Dijk on Instagram. We are in this together. We stick together. We are Liverpool.
Rhetoric.
Jurgen Klopp has challenged his players. Jurgen Klopp has challenged his players to shake off any lingering effects of injuries, admitting Liverpool are no longer in a position to accommodate slow returns to form. It's, you know, that's a lot of the rhetoric and, you know, the rah and, you know, let's do it. We are Liverpool concept and everything else. You know, you can only say that so often, so much, until it just falls flat. And it falls flat if you're not showing that what some of us wanted to see in that game, which was fight. I don't think we saw fight in that game, especially in that second half. Considering the amount of talent that we have, let's not get it twisted. Atalanta is a good team, but they're not a great team. We lost to a 6th-placed Italian team. Like, that's what I'm wrapping my head around.
And Palace.
And Palace. Right.
And Palace. I mean,
if you want to put
we're making them all look great. We're making them all look great.
Yeah, if you want to put that into measure, sure.
We're making them all look like world beaters.
Yeah. Mateta R9.
Making them look like Ronaldo.
Yeah, man. Look, I couldn't believe
that's
it.
Not even get it twisted. We lost to a 6th place United. And again, I know that Brian doesn't hang out on a lot of the socials, you know, but I do. I do. And
Fulham are better than United, by the way.
Oh, I get that.
Like the people are looking at Fulham.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, don't underestimate these boys. If we, this could get ugly, bro. This could get ugly.
Yeah, but again, I mean, like, what I was about to touch off on was the fact that there are certainly some forums out there that are actually excited about the fact that we've kind of gone into free fall, and especially United fans thinking that they had a major hand in this free fall. And that's where you start to get a little bit of this despondence. That's where you start to get a little bit of this, like, you know, where do we go from here, like, concept, you know? And that's unfortunate, because a lot of the forums out there, especially a lot of forums that we all see on YouTube or on Twitter or whatever, they're going to hold us to task, you know? They're going to certainly hold us to task. So, I went over and made some points for this past game. We're not going to do, as I spoke, we're not necessarily going to do a review in the sense of ratings and review of the game at all. But what I am going to do is kind of go over some of the points that I thought were pertinent in this last game, and you can kind of give me your kind of takes and everything else from it as well. I know that yesterday we saw. Take down this quote here. I know yesterday we saw a team that needed a result, needed some players to step up, and when you saw that lineup yesterday, and this is a question for the chat and the panel, were you confident in the lineup that we had, or did you think that there was certain players that you would have played in spite of other players that did get the start? Let's just start off there. JK, do you have a view?
To tell the truth, the lineup wise, it was a good lineup. You know what I mean? Considering what we've had in the past few months. So, team, I just wish that Klopp went with 4 attackers. You know, they're all fit now, all our front 5. So he should have just gone with the 4 up top instead of the 3 in midfield, because Szoboszlai and Jones, passengers again. Waste of an attacker there. I'd rather I played all of them there instead of them 2 guys in there. You know, it's just like, I think the urgency in the midfield from Jones and Szoboszlai is sometimes misguided. They waste a lot of energy and time, and that's another reason why we didn't do well yesterday. But lineup wise, yeah, you can't. I think the lineup was sound. Alisson's back. Trent was back. Trent came back because Bradley couldn't play for sure. But all in all, the team was there. We had Robertson left back. Defense-wise and goalkeeper, solid. That's probably our best sort of choices we can make, you know, even the midfield. So, but no chances really created for Jota and Darwin. They had about 25 minutes on the pitch. Nothing. Not even a little 1-2. Nothing. So...
Yeah. How about for you, Brian? Is there someone that on that lineup when you saw the starting 11 where you're like, yeah, I don't know about him starting, or I would prefer XX starts, or
Yeah, I like JK was saying, the back 5, can't really argue with that at all. You know, it's that's our back 5. As strong as it gets.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have started Jones. I wanted Jota to start, but I'm assuming that he didn't start because he's not fit enough to. I'm still convinced that if he'd been 100% fit, he would have started. I wanted Jota. Jota.
Gotcha.
I wanted to see a front 3 of Cody Gakpo on the left, Jota in the middle, and Salah on the right. I didn't want Darwin to start. I didn't want Diaz to start. I didn't want Jones to start. But I knew Endo wasn't fit, so that was, you know, what are you going to do? So give me a McAllister and Szoboszlai. Right, okay, fair enough, because I don't want Jones starting either. There was talk of Elliott during the day. I didn't really like any combination. Once Endo drops out now, it messes up our midfield so much. We don't have a 6. It just makes it a jumble of 8s, which I don't like any combination of those 3. You know, unless Endo goes, Endo plus 2 is fine, but I'm not really mad about it. I don't like McAllister, Jones, Szoboszlai. I don't like Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, McAllister. It just neuters McAllister because he's always the one that has to be the 6, because none of the other of them can do it. If Jones could play 6, then okay, that might be different, but he can't. So I didn't like that, but we were kind of stuck a bit with what we could do. Disappointed to see Diaz start, but again, I think that was just because of the lack of startability, maybe, if that's a word, of Jota. I think, but again, he hasn't really set the world on fire either when he's come on. But this whole team is not functioning very well. So Was I happy with it? Not 90%, but that's just me being spoiled and wanting what I wanted. I'm sure there was reasons why he did what he did.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm smiling over some of the comments in there in the chat here. Yeah, the points I had 6 major points. I figured we have 6 titles in Europe, so or well, Champions League at least. But
oh yeah, and just so in case anyone is wondering, we ain't doing a player ratings tonight for very good reasons.
It's just it's one of those things where like I already told you.
If anyone wants to throw in, if anyone wants to throw in a little anything like that in the chat, go ahead. But yeah, we're not going to be putting up the thing with the numbers and the pictures and the talking and the crying and the wailing. So it's just you do what you do. It's zeros all the way. Pretty much, Rev. I mean, just one big 0 on a pitch. Just give it that. One big 0 on a pitch. That'd do it for me anyway.
Where is the comment? So I'm trying to say Revenite said it was Jones. Dom Mo shouldn't have started for him. I can understand the Dom comment because I think Dom is just I've been very critical of Dom. I personally think that Dom is playing in the wrong position for this team, to be honest with you.
Who are you preaching to? Come on, man. Yeah.
I just think he's playing in the wrong position. I think that
everyone is on that train.
He's a fantastic player. I think that he's like he has some phenomenal talents, but I just think that the role and the position that he's playing on this club is just when you don't have the likes of a Trent Alexander-Arnold at his top form, when you don't have all the other concepts that have to be a part of the formation and strategy. It just puts him in a place where he doesn't look exceptional, in my opinion. Jones,
everyone is. I think even I'd say you'd be looking very hard to find anyone who doesn't agree with you on that. And I think even Klopp said in a roundabout way. I don't know. It was a quote I saw recently, so I don't know if he saw it. Said it a while ago, or he actually just. It was just retweeted or something. But he basically said the same thing himself. He said something along the lines of what we're asking Dom to do is a different type of thing, which means that he can't do this and that. And it's, at the start of the season, it's great. He's going to work his balls off and he's an amazing player, but look how hard he's prepared to work, yada, yada, yada. But even Klopp was kind of going, we're actually kind of not getting the best out of his attacking abilities.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I've said for a while, that the new coach that comes in, the chances of him playing in that same exact role is almost 0. So we're going to see a completely, hopefully, different version of him. But it's funny that even Klopp has come out and said, I'm not getting the best out of this guy in terms of what he can do on the ball. It's just like, well, why are we doing it then? You have choices. You don't tell me you bought him to do that job.
No, I doubt you bought him to do that.
Come on, don't tell me that.
I don't think he did.
Yeah, come on, tell me there was a plan, Klopp, to really unleash this guy, in year 2 kind of thing. Don't tell me you were bringing him in to do that role.
I think his untimely injury in the January, in that January window where AFCON happened, I think that really put
everybody got injured.
Governor on something that I was looking to see us get out of Dom, but all the same,
I think he put too much in early season. I caught up on him.
Yeah, that's what he did. He's used to playing attacking football. Comes to Liverpool and Klopp wants runners in that midfield. And for me, Szoboszlai, it was a culture shock to his game. His all-round athleticism, it was sort of tested to the brink. Hence why he's come back, got injured, then he came back and got injured again. So this has been a big sort of shock. So he's got that in his system now to be a runner, with his also attacking game, you know, because like every time he goes on international duty for Hungary, big
He
reviews. He
shines.
got
He
an assist,
shines.
got a goal, you
Yeah,
know.
he shines certainly.
And
Yeah.
then for Liverpool, I think because of the way Klopp plays our midfielders, he's sort of covering a lot of grass, and that's like he's had a big effect on him. Yeah, he's fitter now in the bigger picture, but I just wish he just plays his game what he's used to. You know, I just wish that sometimes he just gets the ball and actually shoots and scores. You know, he's got it in
Mm-hmm.
him. And but they're not even doing the basics right now, bro.
Well,
Jones yesterday, another week. Jones has 3 games in a week. He's not done nothing.
I was
You know?
disappointed. So where I was going to go with what I had for today is I was disappointed in Jones. Look, one of the major reasons why I had put Jones in as a starter was simply because of similar to somewhat of what Lee was saying about how he's like, he just doesn't believe that they really care. Well, if there's anyone that's going to care, it's going to be someone that grew up in that city, someone that understands what this team and their performances actually, mean for the city and their fans. And I
being a scout.
really,
yeah. We said it last night, didn't we? The scouts are on the pitch. Him and Trent.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's like we were looking to them, right? That's what you were saying. You were looking to them.
That's what I'm getting at. Yeah.
Fucking scouts is on the pitch, man. Come on, like the more we think, the more I dig into this.
If there's anyone that was going to do something where, like, okay, the game needs a little bit of pep me up, or maybe needs a hard foul or something, or whatever it is, you think that, okay, well, maybe you would get it from someone like that knows that concept and everything else,
Take a yellow.
Yeah.
Take a yellow or something. Yeah, just
right.
Fucking, come on. Yeah, this is the problem. This is what we were like. You start thinking and thinking and thinking. We were thinking about this last night. It was like, Scousers, Gerrard, and then it's like, and the only Scouser was on the pitch, and it was Jones, and he was in midfield. And it's like, come on. It's even the more you even think about this, it's like, and Trent, like, and I was saying earlier on, even I think the most wound up, G'd up Trent isn't ever going to be that guy.
No, you're not going to get someone. Unless it's like a situation where it's like Xhaka in his face type situation, like we saw in Arsenal. A little bit of a different story, or if it's like Gordon, when he like was doing some like antics on the sideline with Trent. Okay, yes, that's going to rile him up and everything else. But normally Trent's a very measured, and someone that.
It's not his game. It's not his vibe. Yeah,
it's not his game. It's not his vibe.
If you saw him blowing his top and get angry with someone, you'd be like, "Whoa, what's up? What's with Trent today?"
Yeah.
Whereas if someone else is doing it, it's like, "Yeah, that's my boy. That's my boy. That's what I want. That's I want." You get that from him.
Yeah.
You don't even. When's the last time you saw that from Jonesy? It's
I'm trying to think. There was one time that he got in. I'm trying to think whose space he got into.
Yeah, there we go. Once.
But, you got to think about it. You have to think about it. Type, that's the whole concept. And I'm not saying that we don't want some off-kiltered, crazy guy that's going out there getting stupid yellows or
okay. But here's a question.
That's not even remotely what we're saying. But
here's a question for you then. Here's a question for you, 12 Man, and JK, and the chat, obviously. Mm-hmm. So when I think about these players, the first 3 to come to mind will be Paddy Vieira, Roy Keane, and Steven Gerrard, right? Midfield enforcers, but don't get it wrong, don't get it twisted. Those boys could play football, okay?
Yeah,
all of them. Roy Keane, Vieira, Gerrard, but that, like, are those kind of players a dying breed? Are they still out?
Brian, they are. You know what was a measure of that? What was a measure was not our game per se, but what was a measure of that is the fact that I heard that KDB and even Rodri asked to be taken out of the game. Like, those are great players. I'm not going to throw any shade towards KDB. Great player.
Oh, sorry, in the what you mean in the Real Madrid game, is it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I heard Haaland has to be taken off as well. Actually.
Imagine hearing Gerrard say, "You know what?
Yeah, I heard Haaland said because Pep was questioned about why he took off Haaland.
Yeah.
You know, considering there was a chance of penalties.
Yeah.
And he said Haaland has to be taken off too.
Exactly. Yep.
He said he was feeling whatever he was feeling, you know. But
imagine if that soundbite came out and you're talking about like, you know, one of our players, like one of our greats, like you just spoke of, you know, saying that.
No.
That's what I'm saying. The modern that concept that you're speaking of, I don't exactly believe that it is there, especially considering a lot of these players are playing for, not all the players, by the way. I'm not saying this isn't some blanket statement. But you know, some of these players are, you know, playing for the dollar
bills, baby.
You know, not necessarily for the badge, despite the fact of what we want to believe in, the romanticism of all of that and everything else, you know. I mean, like, it's the reason why I said if there's someone that needs to look, if there's anyone that I would have trusted, would have said, oh, we're going to step up and make a measure of this game, it would have been, again, Curtis Jones, because he's a scouser. Curtis Jones is not making some like 100,000 a week freaking wage. You know, was he on 15,000, I think, or something like that? 25,000, something around that range. It's a lot of money. Don't get it wrong. It's a lot of money. I'm not like, you know.
I think he might upped his bag recently, but yeah, you'd have to check it.
Yeah, I'll check it.
No, but yeah, like this is what I thought. Like, JK,
but you get what I'm saying, though,
would
right?
you agree with that,
yeah.
JK? Yeah, oh yeah, totally. Would you agree with that, JK? That do you think that kind of type of player is gone? That, like, again, it's not like a hard man. I'm not talking about Vinnie Jones or Dennis Wise or Joey Barton. I'm talking about the Keanes and the Vieiras and the Gerrards that could actually play. Like, the best managers in the world wanted them, made them the captains of their team. Like, do you think that type of player is gone, or?
Yeah, I think it's gone since a long time. Because, like, I think a few months ago we were on about that, like, who would be the new Liverpool manager, for example. There's no new managers to choose from. There's 2, 3 maybe, if that. Same as centre-back, same as midfielders and centre-forwards. Centre-forwards, you've got Haaland, Kane and Mbappe, and after that it's whoever, you know. But there's not a lot of people to choose from. So seeing those sort of figures like Gerrard, bro, them days where a guy individually can just change a game like that with a bit of aggression, it's sort of been the game all in all. People are wearing pink boots, bro. I know we were making fun of that, but the game.
Yeah. Let's not get into the pink boots thing. Let's not go there.
It all started from the fucking pink boots, man.
Hey, man, let's not. Pink boots. Actually, you know what?
That's the day it all ended.
I'm not going to relate Cody's change of play because he's wearing different color boots, by the way. So just so you noticed, but
okay. But he just went since that day, man. He went pear-shaped.
Right. But on my, I don't have a verified. It's not a verified account of his salary, but the one of the resources that I use when it comes to people's salaries and what they're making has
Transfermarkt.
No, I don't have it on Transfermarkt. I have.
They're decent. They're usually pretty close. So.
Yeah. But the one that I use here is got him at 15,000 pounds a week, and making 780,000 a year, basically. And he is signed. Jones is signed to 2027. So if he's going to get up in his wages, then you know he's still signed to it's 2027. There's a lot of those guys got signed to just that. The 2027 was that magic number for him, because like Diaz is signed to 2027, Endo signed to 2027, Bajcetic signed to 2027, Elliott signed to 2027, Jones is signed to 2027.
Surprised he signed up for 30 grand. I'm assuming that's a 30 grand a week contract, 15 take home. I'm surprised because we wouldn't have offered him 15. That'd be insulting for a first.
I mean, that's That's
Yeah,
not
that's incredibly low.
that's
Incredibly
the
low.
yeah, that number is not the take home number. That's his number.
That's,
Guys, I know what you mean by that. I mean, like, as in, like, after
yeah.
taxes, that kind of concept. Like,
Yeah, no, in England,
usually
usually when they,
where it has most salary
Yeah.
making 350,000.
yeah, he's on
If it
15.
has that as 350 for Mo, then if he's making
Well, if
15,
they have 15, if he's signed up to 15 on 15 grand a week, that's 7.5. Well, it wouldn't be because he probably wouldn't. No, he would. Yeah, he'd be on 7.5 grand. He would meet a 48%.
that's
tax.
most likely because he
So-
got a pretty big. That was probably his youth academy, deal. Once you get promoted from the youth academy and they actually give you like a proper contract. Even though that proper contract, you would think, oh well, now I'm playing with the big boys. I should make big boys money. That's not necessarily the case.
Yeah, but if he signed up till 2027, right?
Yeah.
That means he signed that deal relatively recently. I
Yeah.
reckon. So he's done himself.
I mean, Kelleher is signed.
bad there.
Kelleher is on 10,000.
Yeah, well, no, I'm just thinking on Jones here. I know we can go into
Yeah.
other people on less money, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying Curtis Jones specifically.
Yeah.
If he's on that money, he signed that deal relatively recently, and he sold himself short.
I don't know. I don't know. I can find that out for you. I understand.
Because he didn't sign like a 7-year deal in 2020.
Yeah.
He didn't do that. So what I'm saying, like
Right.
he's done himself a disservice there by signing up on 15 grand a week.
Normally you do like 5-year deals. Normally that's like, you don't do like,
Yeah,
So
maximum.
he probably did that
maximum.
deal last year.
Yeah, for that kind of money, that's exactly the point I'm trying to
But
make.
last year for Curtis Jones was a different Curtis Jones. Curtis Jones was not looking at it. Curtis Jones, people were talking about Curtis Jones going out on loan, much less even being a part of his team. He didn't really have like some super leg to stand on. Saying,
all things considered. All
Go
things
ahead.
considered.
JK, go, and then Brian goes. I'll be quiet. Go ahead.
This whole Curtis Jones thing, I've never been a fan. I'm just waiting for the day where he actually just steps up and be that guy he's meant to be, and then he'll get a £100,000 a week contract. I think because, like, what happens in clubs, if the guy's doing well, they sort of spruce up his wages anyway. So Jones is still at that level. He's worth more than 15 grand a week in the football world. Like, don't get me wrong, but I just feel he hasn't done anything in a Liverpool shirt at all, and he's had so many opportunities. He's actually one of Klopp's favourites, I would say. Jones, if he's fit, he's starting, and you don't just take it up from there. And my brother was saying, like, he's a bit too bulky and he's half a second too slow when he's moving.
Yeah.
He just don't flow. He just goes back.
I personally, I don't. I understand what you're saying.
But that's the way he plays football, But
yeah,
I was expecting bigger things from him.
Well, I think he's still. I mean, I think people sometimes forget the fact that Curtis Jones isn't 25 years old or 24 years old. And he's still a young man, still growing, he's still developing into his form and everything else. And you can say what you want about Curtis Jones, but Curtis Jones was easily one of the best players in our youth system. He was the man back in the youth system, at least. He was the man. I mean, even Steven Gerrard put him on blast one time when there was a tackle that was made, and this is what we were kind of going about. Brian, I think Brian's working something out with his phone right now, but this is something what Brian was alluding to earlier, and that is like, if the case with Curtis, for instance, there was a time when he was playing for I don't know if it was for the U21s, I think it was, but he was, Steven Gerrard was the coach, and there was a tackle, and the tackle was made on Curtis, and he kind of got up and he kind of just like didn't do anything about it. And Steven Gerrard got in his face and basically said, and he speaks about this in an interview, and he got in his face and said, you've got to want it more. You've got, and I'm paraphrasing obviously, but you can't. That's unacceptable. You just basically lay down and allow for that person to just walk over you, and that's not acceptable as a red. And you've got to want it more. I don't care what you do, as in you. It's not, oh, hey, you scored a goal, or hey, you gave an assist. Oh, bravo, bravo. But it's more so the measure of the measure of what you symbolize to your teammates, and the importance of recognizing that that is not something you can accept. And he speaks about how that changed his perspective greatly. How that was here he's getting spoken to by one of his idols. And one of his idols is saying basically, where's your heart? And that from that point on, Curtis Jones made a conscious effort to understand and incorporate that into his game. Now, I'm not saying we saw that against Atalanta, but what I am saying is that those are concepts and such that I'm speaking on, is that those concepts are important. Those concepts are important. I don't know if that's his that's his wage, Realism Jared. I don't know. I'd have to double check. The resource that I have is a pretty legit resource, the website, but it tells you which ones are verified and which ones aren't verified. So Curtis Jones is not a check marked verified wage. Mm-hmm. So that is just me again saying what I believe is his wage. His wage might be more than that, but that's the wage I have in front of me. So yeah, yesterday you were speaking on Mr. Pink Boots, and he's wearing orange boots yesterday. I think he's wearing orange boots. I think he's wearing the same color boots he wears for those boots he wore yesterday. I think are the boots he wears for his national team, and maybe that's what he needed. I mean, he's been wearing those boots as of late, to tell you the truth, and it's kind of cool. Maybe those are the difference psychologically, superstitiously, whatever the case might be. But what's very interesting is that we're in a case in place where possibly the and I told you I had 6 points. This was one of the points that I had on there. And what was very interesting was that possibly one of the worst informed forwards for us has become one of the better informed forwards for us. And that's not saying he's in great form in the sense of he's being in some world beater, like, signing up for the Ballon d'Or. But it's a kind of a measure of where we are with our front five, our five forwards up there. That's kind of telling, because I know a lot of people were very, very antsy about Cody, about his play, and about he doesn't have the measure, how he's getting moved around. He hasn't found a legit spot to call his own and everything else.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, all those things are correct. They're not he's been moved around. That's not a concept or an opinion. He has been moved around.
Okay.
He has. I mean, is someone going to tell me he started every game in the same position?
Mm-hmm.
He has. Look, I'm just going to say, if anybody wants me to be bigging up Liverpool players tonight, then you may as well just end it, because it's not going. I know if I'm not in the humor to be talking about how great someone is, or I'm sorry, I'm not going to be nice about any here.
Okay.
None of our players are I don't want to hear about what Curtis Jones going and visiting the Dalai Lama and telling him to find love in his heart. You know what I mean? I don't want to hear about someone changing their boot. I'm just not in the humor for it tonight. None of these guys. I don't care how many marathons they run for cancer. Seriously, I just I'm not in the humor tonight to be bigging up any of our guys. It's not the time for it, as far as I'm concerned. Now, I'm not going to be nice about them. Not, I know we're not doing a ratings thing tonight, but yeah, all of our front five. Come on, people saying sell them all and all that, but I mean, yeah, if I was a 14-year-old, I'd be like, yeah, sell them all. That's how I feel about these guys today. You know, I've just seen I've seen some characters come out. You know.
I get
I
it.
wasn't having a go at you. I wasn't having a go at you for. I came at the end. You were talking about Cody Jones or Jones. So it's just like,
oh well, we're talking
this is
about
not the time. This is not the time
when
for
you
me
came
to
at the
be.
end. The reason why I was bringing up the Cody Jones story was about the fact of when Steven Gerrard put him on blast, basically, and when he was playing for U21s, and basically called him out for his heart. You know, like, where's your heart? Where's your where's the fire that you need? I'm not talking about you going off and scoring goals, or you going off and trying to like run circles around these players and such. Like, it was just about the tackle there was a tackle that was made. He spoke about it in the interview that he had with the in the Liverpool interview. They conducted an interview with Curtis.
Those puff pieces, man. Puff pieces every time. Those things where they sit down with the blonde girl at Liverpool and they, how big is Stephen? How important would it be to win the World Cup? How much would it mean? All these things. It's like, it's just the same as the stuff you were talking about. It's rhetoric and word salad nonsense for the media generation, you know?
Yeah.
Just come out and say, oh, he inspired me to do this and do that. What? Come on. You need to be inspired. You needed Steven Gerrard to tell you to play better. Oh, and then it's not a you know.
So I think you need to watch the interview. You might have a slightly different take on it.
I won't. I know that when he bases, I was this and he came in. I was an inspiration. It was like something from the Karate Kid. Yeah, great. I'm glad that helps you out, Curtis. But it doesn't make you a better footballer at the end of the day. It doesn't make you better at football. You know, any of these guys that need an inspirational speech to be told, you know, this and that. This is just it
Brian,
sounds good on camera.
You're welcome to your opinion, but I'm going to say that personally, I do think that sometimes you do need those kinds of talks.
Maybe sometimes people do.
Sometimes you do need some type of. Not every one of these people have. Not every one of these young lads have an incredible environment that they grew up in. Not every one of these players had a father figure or something along those lines. Not every one of these players gets the opportunity to be in front of their role models. But when you are in front of their role models or you're in front of someone that you had a poster of in your room, and all of a sudden this guy is in your face telling you, where is your heart? And he's questioning you. That might freaking make you wake up, because so often sometimes players can get, I won't say delusional, but they can get somewhat wrapped up in all the praise and the glory that other people put on them. They sit there and they hear all these takes about, oh, how great you are, and to the point where you don't think that your SHIT stinks. And sometimes it takes someone like a Gerrard or like someone that you will not sit there and go, oh, who cares about what he has to say? Sometimes it takes that person to be in your face to say, you need to step it up. Or, hey, I know this isn't a part of your game, or this isn't something that you want to do, but the whole reason why you do it is because the person that you want to emulate towards, or the person that you believe in, or the person that inspired you possibly to even kick a football is telling you something. And it resonates with some of these players. Not with every last one of these players, but sometimes it makes the difference. Klopp's message is somewhat going blank. I get it. People could say, you know, you've heard that story. I know you speak on the subject of, you know, sometimes hearing the same story over and over and over again to the point where like, oh yeah, that's a motivational speech, huh? I've heard that 7 times. That I can understand. But for some of these players, that's not the case. And what I'm trying to get across is that little insight that he gave us, that was obviously something motivational or important in his life, in his young life, that made him say, I can either just keep resting on my laurels, doing all this, being the best youth academy player, or I can try to take what my idol or this guy that I love, I could take what he says to heart and make it a point to make it a difference in my life. That's what I'm trying to get across.
Yeah, I didn't look. Obviously, it would have had an effect. I'm not saying it didn't have an effect on. What I'm saying is, not like you said, not everybody gets to have a role model, not like a father figure in their yada yada. Oh, those things. Yeah, but not everybody is in the privileged position of Curtis Jones to be getting a pep talk from Steven Gerrard. There's just as many kids out there that needed to be sat down and told that by some coach you've never heard of in the 5th division and 4th division, 3rd division.
Right.
You know, I'm just saying, like, that being told that, yeah, we've all been teenagers. We've all been young kids thinking we can coast through life because we're just the coolest and we're the best and everybody loves us. And, you know, I'm cool. Yeah, it's like, and you get to a kind of hyper and someone takes you to one side and go, hey, look, I get you think you're the shit, like you say, you know, it smells like roses. But
Right.
if you don't cop the hell on,
Right.
you're not
You're
just being, it's a big wide world out there. I get it. Yeah, he probably was, I'm assuming the inference there was that he grew up with a dad, right? So that he didn't have someone in his life telling him, you know, you need to. So
no,
Steven Gerrard steps in.
I'm not saying that for Curtis Jones. I'm just saying.
No, but it's just like, yeah, you know, but what I'm saying is it doesn't make you a better footballer. Like ability wise, like Jones is like, give him the motivation, but it's not like Jones has to take control of his own destiny and become his own man and his own player.
Exactly.
So it's a great thing that he had that in the day. And I've no doubt that maybe cracked him out of some kind of funk that he was in. Yeah. And perhaps if he hadn't had that talk, he might be playing for Rochdale or Blackpool now. You know, but do we need someone else to come in and give him another one of these to say, right, look, you've gotten to here. If you want to last at Liverpool, you've gotten into the team. If you want to be here, you can't coast. Now, you know, does he need another one of these pep talks to say, right, you've made the next step up? It's not all about just getting there. You've got to, like, the hardest thing is staying there. Anyone will tell you.
This comment as well. Yeah. There's similar to what you're saying.
Look, I'm not arguing with you. I'm definitely not arguing. It's just like, I don't, you know, we do have a,
say your point.
I know you have a more, we have different ways of looking at things, and you have a more slightly sentimental point, and I have a more kind of like, whatever, I wouldn't call it negative. It's not like positive v negative. It's just I have a different way of looking at it. And it's, you know, it's but it's not like I'm positive or you're negative, which, you know, in between, say, like, if it's not this v that, it's just different ways of doing it. But I don't see, it's just like, yeah, cool, that's life.
Right.
Yeah, that's what life, you know, everyone needs a kick up the ass every now and again, and Jones got it. But look, where are we now? Like,
and also, though, a lot of those same
Jones
players
do we have?
A lot of those same people, though, a lot of those same players, though, you know,
they don't
one of the
react
reason
to
why I
that
do say that it's important, or those kinds of sometimes interventions, or whatever you want to call them, or just sometimes those kind of concepts. You said, you know, it's up to Jones and taking control of his destiny. JK backed you up by saying that, and I can understand that part and point. But there are those that will say, "Who's this old geezer?" You know,
some guys don't listen.
You know, who cares
some
about
guys
what you
don't
have to
listen
say?
to that advice.
I didn't watch you growing up, or I didn't care. I don't care about what you have to say.
Yeah, no, you're right. I'm saying some of those guys don't listen to that advice.
Yeah.
They've had that. But like you said, yeah, he probably grew up with Gerrard on his wall. So if there's one guy he's going to listen to,
it's him.
Yeah, no, there's a list 100 long of guys who, you know, Xavi sat him down, or Pirlo sat him down, or Buffon, or said, you know, come on, like the manager said, look, you go and have a word with this guy. He idolizes you. He's taking the piss a bit. There's a reams of these guys who just kind of went, oh yeah, cool, and just still didn't listen. So it's up to the guy to listen, and then it's up to the guy as well to
agree with that. Yeah.
To go and take it and can use it, you know. But Jones has got to show who he is. Like, there's a lot of I know, JK. I've been talking for ages. JK, let me hear what you think, man. Come on.
I've always said the thing about it, what you just said there is, at the end of the day, you can have counseling, wisdom, watch videos, this, that, and the other, but you got to do it yourself. And I think Jones is at that stage now where he's been playing football for years, like Danny Welbeck and Curtis Jones. They've been here for years. You know what I mean? Curtis Jones has been with Liverpool for a long time, you know.
His whole life, right? His whole life, yeah. About 8, 9 years old.
Right? And you would think by now he'd be a regular, you know, like he's always fit, always ready to play, always like getting called up for England and stuff. Just like a top midfielder for Liverpool. He's never done it. And just before this injury, how many times are we going to say that? Just before this injury, for me, probably the best he's ever played for in a Liverpool shirt. He was
great
at that form. Yeah, he was. Even I was saying it. I was like, bro, Curtis, wow, he stepped up big time, and now probably that's him now. sort of for the future. That's the sort of type of player Curtis Jones is becoming. I was great, and then bang, he gets injured. I was thinking, oh my days. And that game against Atalanta at Anfield, it's like he's never played football before. Someone in the comments, I think it's Mekto, he was saying about Anks getting injured again. Sometimes as fans don't realise that when you get injured, yeah, you have this sort of feeling. If I go this way or that way, will I get hurt again? You know, and it sort of
Tell
messes
me
up the
about it,
game.
man.
Yeah,
Tell me
man.
about it, man.
And
I
I think
spent
sometimes,
like,
yeah.
I spent like my entire teenage years playing golf, like at a pretty high amateur level. I played for my school. I played for like, yeah, I was really low handicapper, and then I just destroyed my shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And for 2 years, I was terrified. And like even when I knew I was kind of fully fit again, even going back on it took me like a year to even be kind of confident to even try and swing a club properly again. Because you're just, as soon as you give yourself a bad injury, if you're playing well and it knocks you back, like I never got back to the level I was at because I was just so, you play within yourself like that. It's, for any player who's had a big injury that's affected your career in any way, it's just like, you don't want to run, you don't want to sprint, you don't want to do anything. Like, it's really, really hard. Like that psychological stuff, man.
Mhm.
Jones keeps getting it, especially at a young age. That's what happens when you get badly injured at a young age. Like my nephew now, he plays sports at a high level. He's just broken his collarbone and dislocated his shoulder twice in the last year. Missed out on international call-ups and missed out on a major final.
Mhm.
He's like, he's psychologically, he's just like, he's scared to even go out on the field now in case he does something wrong. So these kids at that level, that's what I'll always give people sympathy for, is taking a long time to come back from an injury. But
Yeah, like
I
the
don't know, man.
Thiago injury, it always takes about a year when you have hip surgery. Takes a year, bro. And people was going mad at Thiago. I'm like, come on, man. Thiago is sitting there thinking, I want to play football. I don't want to
Elliot
be getting
said it.
paid. Yeah.
Do you remember that thing, Elliot, when he messed his foot up, like mangled it up completely?
Mm-hmm.
He was saying like it wasn't until he was back in his like second, like all the training, all the stuff he did, it wasn't until he back in an actual full on proper game and he had to make a challenge and he did. And that he said that was, even after his whole recovery, that was the first time he actually went in just properly, fully on the foot.
Mm-hmm.
Even in training games, he'd always been just holding back a little bit.
Yeah.
And he said that was as soon as he went into that challenge and he took it full brunt on the foot and it didn't go bad again. He was like, it wasn't until that point that he actually thought, okay, it has healed.
Yeah.
Because even then he was like, it hasn't. He was like, I know it's going to go again or whatever. But it wasn't until he had to go fully into like, okay, it's now or never. That's only then did his brain actually allow him to think, oh, it is healed. That's how the brain works when you've had an injury. It's crazy.
It's mad, you know. It's mad. And I think that's
Um,
what it is with a lot of players as well. It's how strong they are. Like Virgil van Dijk, when you look at him and Salah both haven't really been injured. Virgil had that one injury, but other than
Pickford.
that, them two, they've been great, you know. So it's because of their mindset, bro. How fast they recovered, or they've always been fit, never been injured. Could be the mindset. I think a guy who's always getting injured, maybe there's something not right in the head there. Need to look at that, you know, and how fast they recover and ready to go again. Them sort of things could be sort of looked at by the club, you know. I think they probably do that as well. Find out, and then when they talk to the guy after a surgery, how you feeling, what you're scared of, you know. But you know what it is in football as well, bro. It's like even on a Sunday league game, even if you're battered from the day before, night before, whatever, you always say to the manager, "Yeah, I'm ready to play," even though you're not, you know.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to lose your spot in the team, and I think sometimes professional players do that.
so I have this next question. I'm asking the chat, obviously, to participate in this question. with everything that's been said today, with everything we've gone through the last couple of games, what scale from 1 to 10? What are your expectations for Sunday at Fulham?
I'd be around a 5.
Okay. So that's like 50-50, basically?
I know. That's sitting on. Yeah, that is sitting on the fence, really, isn't it?
Sitting on the bench, yeah.
How about for you, JK?
Me, for expectations, bro, it's always 3 points. It's the way I always watch Liverpool. I always think, yeah, it's the 3 points. Unless we're away at Man City and maybe a point is all right, but not to lose to them, you know. But all in all, every time Liverpool plays to win. So my expectations are 10 out of 10, bro. You know,
Cool.
I don't know if the players are going to be
wow, that's high. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's a high bar. MK Toe's got it at 4, Alexander got it at 8, Phillips got it at 5, and Revenite's got his at a 4. Okay. I might measure it as like, maybe you could say like an 8 is a win that you think will win. A 9 is like we won with a clean sheet, and maybe a 10 is we won with a clean sheet plus, 3-4 goals or something like that.
Now we get the parameters.
Yeah.
After we've given our numbers,
I'll give you the parameters maybe to help you guys, get off the 50-50 fence, and
Well, I don't know. I think they might go a bit lower. I just think in terms of how, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much am I expecting us to win?
Yeah.
I would say the needle is only it's hovering between 50 and 60. I'm not sitting here, like, I know JK is going down the route he's going down, but I have to say, from what I've watched, if I was going into the bookies, I mean, I'm not mortgaging this. I'm really not. Like, I'm probably keeping my money in my pocket. If someone says, do you want to back Liverpool to win? I'm not sure I'm putting down a big lump. I might have, I don't know if gambling offends anybody. I'm sorry if it offends their beliefs, but I'm just using it as an analogy. I wouldn't, I don't gamble myself, but I wouldn't be throwing, the week's wages on it either. So I just don't like it. I just don't like. They score goals. We can see goals. They're not brilliant, but they do at home. They like to play football, and they've got some decent players. So I'm not going to be over confident and over arrogant about it. It's like, on their day, they're a good little football team. So we just need to be there and buck up and just be prepared. It's not something I'm overly excited about watching.
Okay. That's kind of like when I was asked by MK Toe, what is a 4? Then what is a 4 basically? And I was like, okay, well, 4 is like, the game is on, but I'm not going to watch it. I'll just.
But there you go. Okay.
I'll get the score updates. I'll
hop off defense then. I'll hop off defense from my 5, and I'll go down to a 4 because I'm less. Yeah, I'm not on defense yet.
Gotcha.
So I'm on that. So if to make a more decision, I'd be more on the Marco Silva might just be licking his lips kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's been some comments that he's put out there that he's like, he's very optimistic that his club can get a result.
I love it. I gotta say, I love it. Kick Brian out. He's
messing with you, Brian. Don't get triggered. Don't get triggered.
No, I was just wondering. No, I know. Don't worry.
All right. Well, then I have a follow-up question. All right. Well, then if your expectations are now from a 5 to a 4, and your expectations are a 10, we've seen some of the expectations of those in the chat. Who is your front 3 for Sunday? Who do you think and you can tell me who you think Klopp is going to play, but I'm just saying, if you want, that's cool. But I'm asking specifically for your front 3. Who do you want to see? That's for the chat.
I wasn't
the chat too.
Oh, sorry.
I'm empowering the chat.
No, I'm just saying, Jared, I didn't even get a chance to read your thing. Yeah, I knew you were only joking, man. Don't worry, dude. It's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was getting at is that
I'll give you both. I could give you both.
Not Klopp's front three. You can tell me if you want to tell me Klopp's front three, or
I could give you both. All right.
But who is your front three? Chat, please tell me who your front three is, and I'll go Brian first, and then I'll go to JK. Who is your front three, Brian?
I'll go with the one that I wanted to see last night, which was Gakpo on the left, Jota and Salah. Just because I know Salah, there's no one else, so that's the three I like.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll go. Does he bring Darwin back? I think he might bring Darwin back in. Yeah. And I think he'll go. I think he'll just go Diaz. I think he'll go Diaz, Nunes, Salah. No, I think. I'm not sure. No, they don't
do against us. By the way,
they'll play their game. They play an attacking game. They play
attack, right? They'll make an effort. Because I remember.
They do. They don't change what they do. They're one of those teams. They play the same kind of game. Also, it's good attacking football. Not overly adventurous or anything, but they won't just sit there and do nothing. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think he'll go with Diaz, Nunes, and Salah. But I would start Gakpo, Jota, and Salah.
Okay. Jota, Gakpo. So, Cody on the left, Diego in the middle, and Salah on the right.
Yeah.
JK, what would be your front three?
Mine would be Jota, Darwin, Salah. For me, they're the best three who we've got. But I could see Klopp going with Diaz on the left. Then maybe even start Jota in the middle, But I just feel, even though Darwin's not great at the moment, he's always sort of a threat. If he turns up, I don't know, for the last few games, it hasn't turned up at all. Maybe Sunday he might come back. But for me, them three are the best. Jota, Darwin, and Salah.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't even mind Diaz, Jota, Salah. If that's what he wants.
Diego's basically the striker that you want to see.
He's got to come in. Surely he's got to come in. If he's not fit, just
I think
give him 90. Yeah, give the man 90.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I was just going to answer it. I don't think it was a question that said, did Darwin look injured yesterday? He looked slow and off the pace, or was it just Jared? And I said, I agree that he did look a little bit off, but I think that's simply because of, I don't know what we were doing that second half, to be honest with you. The form of play, I have no clue as to
zero shots.
Technically we had 2 shots, but none on target.
Yeah. What's it called? Softball.
Yeah. The one, or you know what? We did have a shot on target because Darwin had a header that the goalkeeper caught. That goalkeeper was just giving me flashbacks to Pickford and his catching the ball and then dropping down.
That's what you got to do, man. That's what you got to do.
Yes, I hated that. I was so different, and I remember back in high school, but I remember when I was competing for the starting keeper, my main competition. He was a good guy too. He's Egyptian, actually. His dad had paid for his own goalie coach trainer for him. He was all in on him being making goalkeeping his forte. And remember, after every kick or all the time, he would just do that whole catch the ball, fall to the ground type thing. I was just my mentality was catch the ball, look up, and try to get someone on the break. So I was like a different style. I had a different concept, different mentality, you know. And I just remember I used to hate goalkeepers like that. It's so annoying. It was
Yeah, but dude, if you're 3-0 down,
each their own. Yeah.
but if you're 3-0 down, if you're 3-0 down,
you're gonna do
keeper.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, but I'm fine with that. I don't mind like that. And again, like some of these guys, they take it too far. But again, it's all a lot of times it's managerial instructions.
Yeah.
What I hate now, it's never been something I'm a fan of, obviously. But look, it's like game is played in the head,
Mm-hmm.
So you go quick, you go slow. But what I hate is the fact that, and particularly this season, for some reason, it got ramped up. Like it kind of came, and I blame Emmy Martinez a little bit.
Yeah.
But what players were doing was they were doing like smaller clubs away at bigger teams were doing it at 0-0 after 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then it was like, no, hang on, wait. No. You do this when you've got something to hang on for, and it's like 80 minutes.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, all of a sudden they've decided that it's acceptable for goalkeepers
to do
this shit like at 0-0.
Did you see BBD call him out for it in the game?
Like, yeah, no, you don't do that. Like that's where it really annoyed me. It's like, I get why. Look, obviously, like you do it at a certain point, but it's like, no, we're away at home. We're going to do the low block thing, so let's just time waste from minute one. Yeah.
That, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, like I get it. Some people want to call it the dark arts, or some people want to call it like, or just being smart, being tactical. They might say it that way too. For me, it's just I was just never that. I guess because I wasn't a keeper when I originally started playing football or soccer here in America, but like football. So like my mentality was always like I always knew that whenever the goalkeeper got the ball, I was always like, get it, just get it out, just get it out and get it front, because this most likely means that the opposition was probably in our final third, So I've always been like, get a quick start, get the counter started, and make it happen. And that's why, I guess that's also why I started. So
yeah, these guys, man, today.
Needless to say, I started for our team. That guy did not.
Yeah, these guys today, man. I mean, it's shameless, a lot of what goes on, but it's all pure, like, I'd say, like, if you got a manager, if you're doing that, you'll have a manager that'll bring you in at halftime and go, what the hell are you doing?
Oh, if we're in
that's the problem.
Atalanta's position, you mean? Yeah.
No, I mean, no, today it's like, if you're like, oh no, I'm just going to quick start every time, you'll get a manager going, what the hell are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
You do not start. You hold, you hold, we chew up the clock.
Mm-hmm.
That's the level of shit that goes into that's the horrible stuff about it. Like, you've got managers going out there going, right, from minute one, no quick starts, we're going to hold, we're going to waste time, we're going to chew up the clock. And as you're saying, as like your natural instincts to be there, you'd be like looking at them going, really?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, if you don't do that, you won't be in my team. It's the same thing with center. You get these guys, if you don't do that, you won't be in my team. When you're playing for these small teams, like, the individuality has gone out of it. If you don't do exactly what they tell you to do, it's, and then like I say, it was okay for kind of get away with it, but you won't get away with it from your own fans. But now all of a sudden it's become fine to do it from minute one, because they call it, oh, he's such a shithouse, it's so hilarious. You talk about it on Twitter. That's down to people like Emmy Martinez. The disrespect that he showed in that World Cup final to other players, like, that stuff. The Grobbelaar stuff was funny, but him like going to hand a player a ball and then flinging it 20 yards away. I mean, that was bringing it down to a level it doesn't need to be brought down to.
With that
kind of like antics. All that stuff. It's fine, you have a bit of fun with a player before he's about to take a penalty kick, but You
But
don't
it's a
walk up
it's
and
a
then
mind game. It's a lot of it's a mind game
yeah,
when it comes to that.
yeah,
And
but you keep it within.
you want to,
You
yes,
keep it
certainly.
within a certain bounds of respectability. You know, we're all men. We're all humans.
Right.
You know, you don't need a rule book to tell you. Yeah,
Yeah.
look, have a few words, have a few jibes. If you're good at it, you might put them off. Don't act
No.
like
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
complete arsehole.
No,
Yeah.
it was kind of interesting. I just got asked by MK Toe, would you or him be a better penalty kicker? I'm gonna say would have been me for sure. He was just a goalkeeper. He was nothing more than a goalkeeper. He was not he's not a player that played in the outfield at all, or an athletic player or something like that. But what was kind of interesting was not yesterday, but Thursday, yeah. When we saw Ederson line up as the fifth penalty kicker for City.
Penalty taker, yeah.
It was kind of interesting. That was kind of interesting. Normally, you see
He's
that.
always on pens for them.
No, I was just saying. Normally, you see
Yeah.
that more towards you'll see the goalkeeper be like one of the last to be on the list. Obviously, when we played Chelsea, and we were fortunate that Kelleher made his and Kepa missed his, but yeah, Ederson thinks he says, yeah, taking that pen was wow, but realism, Jared, he thinks
He's on the list, man.
He has openly come out and said that he is the best penalty kick taker on the team.
Yeah, he's always on their list. He'd be in their top 5.
Yeah.
There's a few. There's always been a few, and it used to be more prevalent back in the day. Kevin Pressman would have been first choice because he had an unstoppable shot. It was basically a goal kick. It was the same technique he used for goal kicks. But I think, we all know how good. There's a reason that Alisson starts over Ederson for Brazil. It's because Alisson is the better goalkeeper. But if it was a futsal or a five-a-side or anything like that, Ederson almost gets into most teams. That guy is even Pep said he's Ederson's their best penalty. That guy is a footballer who just plays in goal. I wouldn't be back in the day. Back a guy that good in the 80s or the 90s, he's probably a first choice penalty taker. I think it's brilliant to see that. That was one of the best things. That was one of the best things about I know it got to the end, and it's a different story. But that was the old school penalty taking stuff. When the one you're talking about, the fact that Kelleher taking the final penalty in those things, that was just brilliant. That was so old school. We've run out of players, so it's up to the goalkeeper now, and the goalkeeper just runs up and smashes one in. That was just brilliant. That's football at its best. Two goalkeepers taking penalties against each other in a cup final, and it comes down to that. That doesn't happen very often, but that was just so fun. That's so good.
Right.
You very rarely see that. A goalkeeper, what was 10 penalties each?
No, I mean, look, there's I was putting it in the actual chat right there, and that is the case of look, I'm a U.S. men's national team supporter, obviously, but Jorge Campos was one of the goalkeepers that I rated. I used to love Jorge Campos. I don't know if you guys know who that is or not, but he's a Mexican. He plays for Mexico,
I'll try not to be insulted by that. I'm sure he's talking to the chat of people that know this, but I'll try not to be insulted by that. Just in case anyone doesn't, he's going to tell you who Campos is. But yeah,
Campos is amazing. I always loved Campos.
Yeah.
He's not rated as the greatest Mexican goalkeeper of all time, but he was just a very vibrant and energetic, vibrant personality, to say the least. And he loved playing. He loved getting involved in there's times when he would try to get involved in the attack.
Back in a sec. Sorry, back in a sec.
Yeah. But yeah, that's just all. Chilibert, okay. Yeah, definitely so. But yeah, so is there anything that the chat wanted us to answer before we bounce out of here? There's a lot of. I know that we didn't fire up the Liber Bird today. We're taking straight. We're just doing the Liber bus, as the Irishman said yesterday. We're just right. We're just We don't want after all the turbulence that we've been taking on some of our flights. We decided to just exactly.
Live or walking.
Live or walking, we decided to utilize the bus this time instead, but we will be firing up. We're not scared. But we will be making an effort. Oh yes, the Scorpion was.
Hello?
There's a really good. I need to watch it too. I want to watch it. There's a really cool looking piece on Colombia's goalkeeper, the Scorpion. I would love to watch that. That he's a talent in himself. Yeah.
I think we need to get Jared on here. Yeah, if you wanna go toe to toe, Jay. I know my peeps. Yeah. Campos was. Campos was
we're playing nice today. We're playing nice.
Campos was crazy, but Ochoa would be the only one for me that would be ahead of him as a Mexican keeper. But
that's what I certainly.
Yeah, no, he's for me would be top 2 of Mexico keepers.
Interesting.
But he was before Campos was 5'8", I think he was, which is basically
which is not a keeper height.
Yeah, so he's the original. Basically, if he was playing today, he'd be an Ederson or something, and he was doing that in the 90s, which is why he never played for a big team.
Yeah,
he was tiny. He was tiny, and he wanted to play football, so he never got to play for a world top team, because back then it was all about being a proper goalkeeper.
5'8" goalkeeper.
Yeah, so he's one of those players that, sometimes people talk about players that sort of born in the wrong generation. If he'd been born 20 years later or whatever. Campos would be if Campos was a keeper today, he'd be 80 million. He'd be a Pep Guardiola wet dream. That's the kind of guy he was, and he was doing it. Some people kind of think Neuer has kind of invented the sweeper keeper role, which he did to a degree. He definitely Neuer revolutionized the idea of goalkeeper pushing out and be more of a sweeper. But Campos was one of the first, with ball playing at his feet. He wasn't so much a sweeper because he was too small. But he's but the main thing about him was, basically it was the jerseys. He used to wear the most outrageous jerseys.
Yes.
He was kind of like Agassi. Do you remember Agassi in the 90s?
Yes, that's a good output.
It was like Agassi and goes, "Oh no, give me the most extravagant, mad, colorful shirt that you can find me, and I'll wear that."
Neon.
So
colors.
So he always stood out. He always stood out, even though he's 5'8". But no, he's one of my favorite keepers. To be honest, he really is. That guy was. They used to he one of El Loco keepers is what they used to call him. The El Locos, Chilvers and the Higuitas and people like him. But brilliant players, all of them.
There's a question here. It says, would you put your money on Zidane to Man U or Southgate to Man U? Because originally there was another question on there. Same thing. But basically, because does anyone believe that Zidane is going to go to Manchester United?
Are they talking about that? Are they?
Was that?
Is that a thing? Are they talking about that?
That's something that's trending right now.
Oh, okay.
I think he'll end up at Bayern. I think Bayern Munich was more of his sort of club, I believe.
I think Bayern Munich was certainly more his sort of club than any of those other clubs that they're speaking on.
I don't think he wants to go to England. I think he's kind of hinted at that before.
I mean, but then it gets down to does he speak German?
No, he doesn't. It's
You didn't
Yeah.
speak at all, bro.
no, he's said that before that he has him and Simeone. Simeone has made a big deal about that he doesn't want to work in a country because he's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
his communication is so important to him
Yeah.
that he
Yeah.
doesn't want to work in a country
Thank you
where
for saying that too, Brian.
he
Yeah,
doesn't
that's
feel like
important.
he can get it across. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's and again, he's not a lot of people who aren't from England want to live in England. By the way, it's not the most attractive country in the world. If you
It's
can live in
compared to
Italy or
Spain, yeah.
Spain or
If you're
France or
leaving
Paris,
Spain, exactly.
yeah, you know. So Zidane is someone I think has kind of put a nod and a wink on that before as well. That England isn't somewhere he's mad to go and work.
That's
It's
it's
not
funny.
somewhere.
Yeah, it's funny you brought that up too, because like Simeone, I saw a piece by I saw it was like a short, and this guy was like commenting on players or commenting on like on players and coaches, and he was talking about like I think it was about Man U, and he was talking about well if it was up to me I'd go out there and get Simeone, and I'm like Simeone's not coming to Manchester United. Simeone's not coming to England, much less Manchester United. And I'm like, and then you hear these people sometimes talk about these managers or even sometimes players, but more so managers. And I'm just like, you got to recognize the fact that like communication as a manager is probably one of the most essential qualities you have to have.
Like
It's
some
what,
of them, Mourinho went to Italy and learned, and like I've heard interviews with people who said he mastered, and they said he didn't learn it. He mastered Italian within about 6 months. Now, some people can do that, some people can't.
Yeah.
It's just so Mourinho got it to a level where he knew.
He speaks a lot of languages too, though.
Yeah,
Mourinho
of
does.
course. Well, he was an interpreter for Bobby Robson at Barcelona. But he has clearly an ability to learn languages and know that he can also get his point across in them, which is more important. It's not like we can learn conversational, but to be actually able to say stuff and get it across. Like you think about Zidane has played in Italy, he's played in France, obviously he's French, he's played in Spain. So maybe he could work in that era, or maybe he could work somewhere else. But for some of these guys, Simeone, I know for a fact, tried to learn English, and after about 2 or 3 months, because he was being linked, because he's just like, no, I can't, it's not going to work for me in English, sort of thing. So like some people are different, some people they can learn maths in a month, or some people can learn French in a month. Some people can never learn French. It's just one of those things. Mourinho was one of those guys. But Zidane, I don't really see him coming to England. I don't really see him as the kind of, not someone Liverpool would need. He might maybe be a kind of a Man United type thing, but I'm not sure it'll work very well.
I don't know if Zidane fits. Other than, I think what JK said was spot on. I think that Zidane fits for Germany if he were to speak German, obviously, but he doesn't.
Real, he won 3 European Cups at Real Madrid. I mean, what else do you do? He doesn't seem like the most ambitious, motivated manager.
Right.
He doesn't seem like him. He's not. I mean, he's done it all. He's won it all. He's not a Mourinho out there collecting trophies as a manager, because he never did anything as a player. I mean, he retired and went back to Real. He doesn't really seem that bothered. He's not someone I'd want at Liverpool, Jared. No, because he really doesn't seem overly bothered about having a successful managerial career.
Yeah.
He seems to be kind of doing it on the part-time almost.
Yeah, I don't realize when Jared's asking us, would we take Zidane at LFC? Look, we're not trying to like take away from his accomplishments. We're not trying to take away from the fact that he didn't just like wake up and get, what is it, 7 or 8? He has 8. How many titles does he have? How many Champions League titles does he have?
3, I think he won at Madrid.
Okay, 3 Madrid.
I mean, you don't like Madrid takes a very special thing. It's he won't work at particular clubs because I don't think he has the mentality, try and take a group of players, and mold them into something and do a Klopp thing. It's like, I just don't think he has that kind of motivation in him. He's not someone I need. Not someone I need at Liverpool. He's not someone anyone needs. He's just not the right fit. Maybe Man United. Look, they want to go from.
I'm thinking something else. Okay. Yeah.
The Liverpool manager needs to talk a lot, and Zidane ain't that guy. Yeah, I've never really seen Zidane talk. Really. Yeah,
someone that's like with the fans and kind of like communicative. Yeah, like not the silent type. You mean like?
Yeah. I think
he
at Madrid,
even in French, I'd say he's the silent type. To be honest with you.
There's it says Zidane, a 3-time Champions League winner during his managerial reign at Real Madrid, has been heavily linked with the role in Spanish media in recent days, but sources insisted to ESPN that no talks have taken place, and that is about Bayern Munich. That is about his role possibly of taking over on Bayern Munich. Yeah, I can understand what we all feel, but hey, you know what? Okay, it is what it is. I wouldn't take Zidane I wouldn't campaign to bring in Zidane. Basically,
yeah.
I'm going to take whoever we get is the manager we get. That's how I see it. So I'm not necessarily in at this moment, at least. I'm not involved in the talent pool search, but yeah, I just don't think that Zidane is a good fit for what this club needs per se. So that's just my personal opinion. So, I think he's always waiting. He is waiting for the French job. He is waiting for if France opens up, the national team opens up. He'll definitely take that role. He'll engineer his exit from whatever team he's coaching, whether it's Bayern, whether it's even if it was Real Madrid. I think he would have basically said he would have gone back to be able to coach the French team. So yeah. But yeah, is there anything else you guys want to talk about real quick? Any other comments real quick that you guys want to do? We're on the or not even on the tarmac. We're at the bus depot. I guess. We're at the bus depot. We're not even at yet. So yeah, real quick.
No, I don't think. Yeah. Well, if it was that easy, Jared, we'd have him in tomorrow.
Thing is, at Real Madrid, every position is world-class players.
Yeah, that's why I differ. I mean, like Zidane. Look, I know that the conversation often gets taken to another level when it comes to Pep and about Klopp, but even when you mix in Zidane into this conversation of ability to take on players that are either players you're going to develop, or are they players that are just world talents, and all you have to do is just point them to the field, basically, in a sense. Now, I'm not saying that's all you have to do, but
no, but see, that's the thing. You see, that's why he never gets mentioned in the kind of the top tens, as it were. If you were talking about the best manager since 2000, say, he doesn't really come into that equation because of the very specific circumstances he's done it in. But what also this is the thing as well, which is really annoys the hell out of me, which is that gets thrown around that, oh, well, any manager could have done that with those players. What Real Madrid have created is a very specific set of circumstances where you have a team that's basically built to buy the best players in the world. Most of them, some of them, are the best players in their positions. Some of them, all big players, big egos, and then you're putting them in a pitch. You're putting them. You hand them to a coach, basically, not a manager, and you're saying, right, here's a dressing room full of some of the biggest egos, the best players in the world. They're the best players in the world, of course. It should be easy. But, I mean, give me that job. Give Alan Pardew that job. So it takes a very specific type of manager to be able to get a squad like that to be harmonious and to play. Of course, it's much easier if you have Ronaldo and Benzema and Modric, but not every player respects that type of manager.
Even
that you have to have. Yeah, you can't just walk into that dressing room and go, "Here's John Smith."
Right. Even if it has its own, issues or problems, you have to, you have to take care of.
You have to have the respect. They have to respect you more than anything else, basically.
That's it. Yeah.
They have to respect that coach, because that dressing room eats alive 99.9% of managers. Eats them alive.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Oh, because they're all best friends, and Marcelo isn't playing well, so he drops Marcelo. So Ronaldo has a tantrum. Benzema gets dropped, so Varane and Casemiro are really pissed off because they're his best mates. You need a manager that can come into guys who are basically world transfer record holders on 300 grand a week at the pinnacle of the pinnacle, and get them to do what you tell them to do. No, that's not something like, anyone could do that. Okay, give me that job. I'll walk in and tell Ronaldo, you're benched, mate. You're not playing well enough. It doesn't work like that, guys. Come on.
Tell me how it worked out for Ten Hag.
Yeah, it doesn't work well if he was
exactly,
shot.
bro.
But I mean, prime Ronaldo. These guys at the peak, you got to have a guy that can come in.
Even prime
Commanders.
If anything, it's even harder to tell Ronaldo at this point in his career that he's not starting because he's already bought into,
Well, anyway, what I'm saying is with Real Madrid, it's not that easy to do what people seem to say. It's you give the 11 best players in the world, and anybody could do it. It's far from that simple.
Yeah, it's not that easy.
So, but at the same time, that's why. But Zidane, I think, might be a little bit like that. But in terms of that's really the only kind of thing he can be bothered working with. I don't really think he cares enough to go and do something else.
Yeah.
I'll go and take Spurs from 6th to 1st. I don't really think he's earned too much money, too much respect. Well, I can't be bothered doing that.
Yeah,
it's just not in his vibe.
I don't think Zuzu is going to ever say I'm a Scouser at heart, and that's never ever
move to Liverpool, and it's just like
that's never coming out of his mouth.
It's not going to do all that. You don't need him, and that's not a slight on him. It's just basically like
that's who he is.
If you say I've got 6 of the best in the world here, and I need someone to go out and whip him into shape for a night and tell him what to do, he's your man. Because they'll respect him because he's the big dog. You just tell 6 of the best players in the world to go out and play well and do what you do. You do this, then most times you'll win. But they're not going to respect the average guy in the street. So let's, sometimes it does come down to that. And that's Real Madrid. They're unique in that, the way they do things. No other club does that. No other club acts and operates like that, and that's just their thing. Real, I think that's the thing. Man United, I think they tried to think they're that, so maybe they could look at him. The idea that it's Zidane or Southgate is absolutely hilarious. By the way,
it's night and day.
That's the funniest thing. That's the
night and day difference.
It's like
okay, night and day difference. But all said and done. I care less who Manchester United picks as they get Zidane, more power to him. I think that they're up the creek without a paddle. But all the same, I would like to thank everyone for joining us today. As always, it's important, I try to create this sanctuary in a sense for us so that you understand that not every place that you're going to go to, or there are going to be some places on the internet that you can go to. You can kind of feel comfort to say your opinions. They might not be the same opinions that we have. I mean, on the panel, we don't all hold the same opinions. We often go back and forth at times, but we all at the end of the day know that we're Reds. We want the same. We want the best for the club, and ultimately we would love to see its success. So I appreciate each and every one of you guys for joining us today, and big up to the panel for giving us their insights, and also blessing us with some of just maybe some takes that might bring us some relief at least. But I and possibly the panel, at least possibly some of the panel, if not all the panel, will be here tomorrow, and we will be here to do like a preview of this very important Sunday matchup. So yeah, it is going to be something that we need to do and see. Yes. Hopefully we have a case where it does words of it means more actually resonates with these players, because I know it means more to all of us. So all the same, we will see you guys tomorrow. If your clock says 7 o'clock in the UK, please do be sure to give a look for the Liverpool 12th Man show. As always, the Irishman, do you want anything to say before we allow for people to go on to their final destinations from the bus depot?
No, only that you can't get off. The doors won't open if you don't hit like.
There you go. That's a good one. I like that one. Yes. JK, you have anything to say before we allow for every and anyone to go to their final destinations?
Yeah, I just wanted to say negativity makes you sad and depressed. Be positive.
Dr. JK. Dr.
JK, yes.
And Brian's cough was perfect timing there. The cough was.
There you go. There's your prescription from JK right there.
And turmeric.
Yeah, there you go.
Positive thinking and turmeric. There you go.
Don't forget about that. Yeah.
But yes, definitely. Cheers to all you guys. Keep your heads up. You know what I mean? If anything, the bottom line is, we'll always walk together. So, keep your heads up. Whatever comes of this season is what it is. But if anything, keep hope and keep believing. It makes the heart eternal. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Please do be sure to take care of yourselves. It's very important, especially in this moment. I know some people are very, very down, but if you can, try to be that light for others. And if not, at least try to be open for help from others that might bring about some type of positive change in your life. That's the most important thing I could say to you guys. So until tomorrow, peace.